chat. Yeah, we got a private chat that we are live across YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And what's cool is that John and I are very well connected, but sometimes we don't talk for a couple days, and that's all good. And I'm always trying to keep this old man on his toes. And today's a big day for us, John, because of last night, and we're getting ready for the masterclass that I have and your event, Catalyst. So I thought we needed some new music.
Oh, love it.
Oh, yeah. So welcome to Breaking the Grade Live with John Gamba. I'm Josh Chernikoff. We are both pumped from our respective cities, Washington and Philadelphia, for the football season, which is still months away, but they released the schedule. We have a masterclass coming up on Tuesday that we have to talk about. We have to talk about John's event that I'll be at and sponsoring. I'm pumped for up in Philadelphia on June the 6th. And today we're going to talk about really kind of crushing some of those leads that have gone cold. So, John, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you, Josh. Lots going on. This is graduation week too at Penn and Penn GSE. So a lot of smiling faces, a lot of black robes.
Okay. And what is your involvement in graduation week? I don't know the answer to that, and I know John pretty well. So tell me what that means.
Yeah, so we have a special awards assembly on Saturday, which is excellent. I was humbled to be nominated and win a service award, so that'll be nice.
Cool.
That on Saturday, and then Sunday is the graduation for Penn GSE, where Angela Duckworth will be our keynote or a commencement speaker in the Palestra, the historic Palestra, where we play basketball and have the Big Five hosts basketball games. And then Monday is the university's graduation, and we're stoked for that, where the undergrads come down Locust Walk and we celebrate them, and yeah, we send them off, and it's been great. I've been working with a lot of undergrads and graduate students on education innovation, and it'll be great to see them graduate with a lot of smiling faces, either as undergrads, master's degree recipients, and a couple of PhDs. So we're super stoked.
Very cool, and congratulations on the award. So
thank you.
That's very cool. You have, by my calculation, 17 minutes left. So I'll hand the baton to you first, because I want you to talk about the Catalyst event, and then I'll talk a little bit about the masterclass, and then let's get into the meat and start really talking to people about how they can get some of those deals that have stalled, get some of those people that have ghosted to hopefully respond and maybe move some of these deals in May to close in June. But let's start with your Catalyst event, please.
Definitely. And Josh, as I explain this, I would love for you to put either in the chat, or if anybody wants to just drop a line here and say that you are interested. We do have a discount code for anybody who is in the Breaking the Grade audience and in the EdSales Elevation audience. So Josh will get that to you. We have a special discount for you. It's going to be a great day of learning, collaborating, connecting. It's June 6th here at Penn's Graduate School of Education, our new building. It's our second annual Innovation Summit. It will feature 3, 4, 5 really great speakers. Claire Zal from ASU GSV, who's also a Penn graduate. It will feature Matt Tower from Whiteboard Advisors. It will feature Ed Metz, the great Ed Metz, formerly of the Department of Education. It will feature incredible sponsors, including you, Josh, from EdSales Elevation. So thank you for sponsoring. Matt Milstein, Old Soul, he'll be there. We've got just a great lineup of panels. Doug Roberts from IEI, good friend of the show, good friend of our programming. It'll just be a really, really great day. Again, second annual, focus on leadership, product, market, and finance, all through the lens of research to practice. How do you develop an evidence-based or a research-based venture leveraging underlying or foundational research, and creating evaluative models to measure the impact of what you're delivering as an ed tech or an education innovator.
The ever supportive Katie Kavanaugh is asking for the discount code. And so, John, I am happy to send that to her directly. Would that be
Yes,
something I should do? Okay.
for sure. And Katie was here, and she had a great time. The Stanford contingent was in full force at last year's event, and they will be returning. Jody Anderson from Resume, Ryan from Resume, and we have a couple of new entrepreneurs who have been spawned out of the great, well, some university named Stanford University, who will be joining on that day. So we're super excited to have the West Coast contingent there, including the great Katie Kavanaugh.
That's awesome. Katie, I will get you that code directly. Anybody else who wants that code, please message me directly on LinkedIn. I'll send it off. And then we have our masterclass coming up on May the 20th, which is Tuesday. The link to join is right there.
Also a special day, Josh. May 20th, on the cusp of Taurus. Something happened 55 years ago on May 20th.
You got me. Got me. I'm not good with birthdays. I'm not good with anniversaries.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I don't want to make a big deal of it. In fact, a couple of people are like, let's go out. Let's do birthday. I'm like, I think I'm done with birthday celebrations. But whenever anybody says May 20th, I perk up. It's a great date.
Okay. Ken is saying that they can't see the link. And I put it in the chat. So Ken, I will also give you, well, here's the link. I'm going to put this in Slack for you. This is live TV, guys. Ken, I'm going to put this in Slack for you here. You know, the masterclass link, you can put it so people can see it. There's the Catalyst link. So I'm assuming that May 20th is your birthday, my friend. And, so happy birthday early. Thank you. Katie is knocking me over the head saying it's John's birthday. Yes, now I get it. Thank you. Appreciate that. So way to go. And we will celebrate together on June the 5th.
That's right.
If you're not, no, in addition to celebrating John's birthday on this Tuesday, join us at the masterclass. And at some point, I'd love to talk to you and this audience about how big and overwhelming this masterclass is in terms of prep, in terms of emails that we're sending. You know, you honestly, well, it put me close to the hospital one time because we put so much energy into it the first time. But we're getting better and better at it. So hopefully anybody can join the masterclass with us. We're going to try and get close to 100, and our numbers are growing and growing. So that's great in terms of people that will show up. The masterclass is really designed to be very timely. So we're going to try and help people like we are today to uninstall some of those deals that are stuck in your pipeline, to get some of those people who have ghosted you to reach back out. So we'll hope that happens for people in this meeting and when they join the masterclass. So please feel free to join us. I'm going to put, Ken's putting the link in for the masterclass as me, and that'll work well. Let's get to the nitty gritty here, John, because you got 10 minutes. So people, we know what time of year it is. It's early May. John's birthday is coming up. We're all waiting for that, clearly. John, what are some things that people can do to uninstall some of these deals that are stuck, that you might have left that meeting saying, I got this? Because we've all had meetings like that, like this is going to close. And then boom, it doesn't close. What would be one thing you suggest people do?
Two things that I'd suggest. One is going back to the ghostings or those that you really thought you had on the hook and was what you would consider a warm or a hot lead that you can't seem to close. The two things that I would do is, one, recognize them in some way. Use, to your credit, Josh, use LinkedIn to your advantage. Go to their LinkedIns, see what they've posted, see what they've shared, see what they've reposted, see what they're interested in, and raise that to them in an email. Hey, saw that you just won an award for community engagement. Hey, just saw that San Marcos was named a hot place to work. Really awesome. Doesn't surprise me considering the discussions that we've had. So recognize them, do some research, personalize your outreach, number one. And then number two is, and oh, by the way, we just launched, or we just had, or we were just recognized. So you put that both, and I think there's synergies there. We were just recognized as being 40 under 40, or we were just recognized for launching a voice activated application that I think has real implications and would really resonate with you as you're moving forward on your social emotional learning journey, or as you're trying to develop new curricular tools that align to IB standards, Katie Kavanaugh. So again, do a little research, personalize your outreach. Don't just spray and pray, and include a latest development or a latest update that you have for them that could be a conversation starter and that could spark some interaction between you two.
I like that. We're big fans of the Raise Your Hand campaign, which is weeks 2 and 3 of the EdSales Elevation Experience, where you have a conversation with somebody in the hopes that you speak for 5% of the time and they speak for 95% of the time. So what we've been encouraging people to do with deals that are stalled or people have ghosted is, hey, probably your world is a little bit upside down since the new administration came in. Is there anything I can do to help? And kind of just laying it out there for them in hopes that there might be something you can do to help. And that would be cool because you're providing value to them and not bringing up the fact that A, you ghosted me or this deal is stalled, but anything I can do in the meantime.
Yeah, and Josh, I'd say be really careful. The way that you just represented it was perfect and great. I know there's a lot of disruption with regard to the Trump administration and what's happening in education, but prospects can sense resentment. So when you put out there, one thing that I'm allergic to is I didn't hear back from you, or this is your last chance, or obviously this isn't important to you, or even more, I would say, undertoning, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Sense it. Really try to be genuine that people are really busy, people are time starved, and just try to keep it focused on something that's happening in their world and something that's happening in your world, and hey, let's catch up. I think that's really it's important to be authentic and genuine, and be careful of getting into what is natural, which is I thought we had a relationship and I didn't expect you to ghost me. But I think it's important to stay genuine, stay authentic, and hope for the best.
I hear you. One of the things I wrote down here was that you got to frame your message around how you can help, and I put this in bold, them achieve their goals. You have a goal, they know it, but how can you help them achieve their goals? One of the cool things, I've said this before, I think on this show, and this I think has helped a lot of members of the EdSales Elevation Experience, is that there's a guy I follow, Rich Litvin, who's a coach. And Rich said this, that a lot of people who he ends up working with one-to-one, and one day I'd love to work with Rich, say, you've been coaching me for a long time. So if you come in with this mindset that you give value, eventually then the contract will close. But start with giving them value ahead of time and coaching them, so to speak, on something you can help them with, achieve their goals, and then you will be able to achieve your goal. I believe that is on the wall at the John Gamba Coaching Tree office.
No question.
Naples,
I mean, that's really great insight and great advice. I'll give you another little nugget that I think our audience needs to remember, and that's let's pretend we're in the first conversation where you generate interest before the ghosting happens, or before you have to figure out how can I get back in touch authentically, and without haste. And that is when you're in that conversation, I call this the milestone driven close. And it could be in sales, it could be in investments. And that is, when you're in that conversation and you've established that there was a specific need, maybe it's aligning to standards, maybe it's a specific assessment tool, maybe the school district has some specific compliance element or component that says they will only do business with EdTech companies that are working with Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT. You got to remember that and say, so what you're saying is, if I can deliver that in addition to all of the other things that we're already delivering, that would be valuable to you, right? And they say, oh yeah, if you really are specifically aligned to Gemini, that aligns with our AI compliance guidelines. And that would really do it. We would really want to work with. Later, when there's hey, I want to be clear. Here is how we're approaching our solution with regard to Gemini. So you're remembering that you laid a breadcrumb, or you laid some sort of a way to create that trail to that next conversation. You raise it, and that makes it harder to ghost. That makes it harder to just blow that off. Yeah, I said that I would be interested if you delivered that. And if that is able to be conveyed in the next follow-up, that would be of interest.
Cool.
Holds the prospect accountable.
Yeah. I think one of the other things you can do through LinkedIn is potentially write content that would be relevant to them, to demonstrate to your broader audience, but also potentially to them that you get it, you believe in it, this is where you stand. To me, that's where people get a little bit sideways on what LinkedIn is. To me, LinkedIn is a place where you demonstrate credibility. Credibility used to be your resume, your degree, whatever awards you've won. Now, to me, your credibility is what you stand for, who potentially you stand with, and what you understand. And if they see a post, that references what John is saying here, then that's another place that they may say, oh, I saw that and I need to connect with that person, reconnect with that person.
Yeah.
So there's multiple angles there. So
yep, and Katie's right in the chat. Good to have AI chops, but it's also good to have AI research. So in a lot of cases, just like we've said before, right, Josh, in these conversations, that most school districts, most prospects will post their strategic plans. Many of them will also post their AI compliance guidelines, or their AI guidelines. So for you to have that in your possession and doing a little bit of research, being able to cite that, being able to relate to that, being able to demonstrate without your chest being pushed out that you've done that research, I think is critically important, and really will be helpful as you're prospecting and as you're trying to stay in the game, closing deals with a compressed contact to contract cycle.
Yeah. It's a lot of research, especially at this time of year. I think what you're referencing, all times of the year, research is helpful. At this time, to potentially get the eye of somebody who might have gone cold, you could do more research. You could personalize them. If you prioritize certain deals that you really would like to see close, then now is the time to really personalize and prioritize people. It is not spray and pray time.
Correct. And one last thing before I jet. What about the power of letters of support? In some cases, I've written on my letterhead letters of support with EdTech solution providers that I know and trust, where I would put my name behind their brand. Sometimes it wouldn't be bad on a ghosting if you said, hey, I'm just checking back in, want to give you a update that we're now working with Compton School District. they're really excited about the work that we're doing. And they wrote a letter that we're incorporating in our next grant writing proposal. And I wanted to share it with you. Let others do the talking.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful as well.
Agreed. And I think you can also do exactly what you're suggesting using LinkedIn, because people
Yeah.
who comment, people who join the conversation shows who you stand with and who stand with you. So, John, I would be remiss if I didn't say, happy early birthday.
Thank you. We'll talk before
I've
that.
only been thinking about it
It's
day
so
in and
funny
day
because
out.
I'm joshing you, part of the pun, Josh, because so many people have said something and I'm like, and here I was proactively bringing it up. So these are weird times, my friend. These are weird times.
Can't wait to hang in Philly. We'll obviously talk and go run off and do what you got to do. But thank you for the 20 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Good to see
Cool.
everybody. Great to connect. Talk to you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we have a couple more minutes here before John jets, before I have to jet. It's 11:21 here where I am Mountain Time. So I'm going to put up a code here, a QR code down here at the bottom. So people can hopefully snap that and join our masterclass. It's also in the chat. If you are in the chat, please feel free to put your name, put your company, put where you are, so we can get to know you better. I know we have some people joining from Nigeria, from the United States, from Mexico. And I also wanted to bring this up because I couldn't sleep. I was up for a couple hours in the middle of the night, and I was looking at something on my phone. I know you're not supposed to do that. But we've had a real nice surge in subscriptions for Breaking the Grade. Our show has now reached 47 countries and territories and 374 cities, which is super cool. We're having one of our biggest weeks of downloads, which is great. I would say to anybody out there who has the time, please leave a rating. A 5-star rating and a review would be super helpful. I do not say that enough. But if you have the time for our show, Breaking the Grade, to leave a review, especially on Apple, because Apple is 63% of our listeners. Only 22% of our listeners come from Spotify, and the rest is kind of mixed. We are in the United States, Mexico, UK, Germany, Netherlands, Uruguay, Nigeria, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and lots of other places. 47 countries and territories. So thank you to everybody on the support. And if you would be able to go a little bit further and leave a review, especially in Apple, that would be awesome. So let's talk a little bit more. If there are any questions that you might have, if you're joining about, hey, I've got this one deal. Let's not obviously say what school or school district or university hasn't closed. But if you have specific questions that we can target and strategize together, put it in the chat. I would like to say thank you to everybody in Chicago, not the whole city, but everybody last Wednesday at the University of Chicago who came out. I was at the Booth School of Business, got to meet some wonderful people. Siri put on an awesome show. And then the next day, Pete from the EdTech Institute of Chicago and the good folks at Tech Nexus put on a great time for our masterclass. And we had a wonderful time there. So thank you to everybody in Chicago. My road ahead is nowhere for a little while. Then I go up to DC for a day, and then Philadelphia June 5th and 6th for the Catalyst event. And then I'm in Minnesota, Minneapolis. I'm going to speak at the National Test Prep Association and talk about how tutoring companies, which I know very well, I had a tutoring company, can leverage LinkedIn. So it'd be wonderful if you could meet me in DC, meet me in Philadelphia, meet me in Minneapolis. I'm a pretty good time. We'll have some fun. So Let's talk also a little bit about this masterclass, because that's the next big thing on my calendar. May the 20th, this masterclass. I can promise you I am putting, and my team, my wonderful team, Ken, Alvin, Samya, Michael, Rob. Oh, I'm not forgetting anybody who's supporting us on this. Are putting in, Jennifer, are putting in a heck of a lot of work to make this masterclass the best one we've ever done. See you in Philly, Paul King. That's awesome. And I think Katie will be there too. So it's going to be a nice little 3E reunion there. That's super cool. But let's talk about the masterclass. So in this masterclass, we are going to kind of talk about the 3 secrets that you need to build a lead generation system. Okay, today we've talked about some quick, like, actionable steps, okay, for you to install some of those deals, for you to get some of those people who have ghosted you to show back up in your life. The masterclass, we're going to go much deeper, okay? We're going to talk about building a lead generation engine that's going to get you 3 to 5 sales calls weekly. And you can walk away just like Grace, just like Rose, just like Brett, just like Paul, just like Katie, who now have the tools to be booking more and more sales calls on repeat. They will also tell you, Paul and Katie, that it is not magic and it is not easy. But when you put in the work, you start to see the results. This is going to be tactical and not theoretical. A lot of webinars that I go to, a lot of master classes I go to are theoretical. We are going to give you real world applications. How do you write a cold email? How do you reach out to people on LinkedIn? We will give you plug and play DM scripts. That makes me sound cool, I think, saying that. We're going to give you an instant credibility formula, ones that have worked for Paul and for Katie and continue to work. We're going to give you the lead generation roadmap, my lead generation roadmap. That will be for people who show up. And we'll talk you through exactly why my signature solution, aka the lead generation roadmap, works. And you may grab it and say, I can do this on my own. And I will say, go for it. Just give me some credit when you get to leads on repeat, if you're able to figure it out on your own. But what you will miss out on if you do it on your own is one of the most important parts of the EdSales elevation experience that I did not see coming. And Paul and Katie heard this story a couple days ago when we had our last meeting of 3E8, which we didn't want it to end. We really didn't. But Katie and Paul, you got to know me pretty well, and that you probably saw I do not like long goodbyes. I'm not a good long goodbye person. When I ran my tutoring company in 2008 to 2018, I always tried to get the tutors together in Washington, D.C. And I would say, hey, it's a Friday night. Let's meet in 4 weeks. And, you know, and nobody would want to meet. So I kind of took that mindset into this business, thinking that companies and people wouldn't necessarily want to get together. Well, I was very wrong, because A, we're together right now. And I know that we're having about between 40 and 60 people showing up at each one of these LinkedIn Lives. We started with 1, pretty much just me. Is that a French exit, Katie? So now I know. What's the difference in a French and an Irish exit? That's my wife calling. Last week, my wife made it to our LinkedIn Live. But Katie, you'll have to tell us what's the difference in a French and Irish exit. So back to the story. You could probably figure out, maybe not, or else you would have already figured out how to get leads on repeat for your education business. But we're going to give you this roadmap that you can try and do it on your own. But what you would miss out is the opportunity to be in the next cohort, which will be 3E10 starting on June the 10th. It's not exactly our 10th cohort because we have worked behind the scenes with many companies, but we don't say that number because generally we're working with them privately. But this is 3E10, the unofficial number, starting on June the 10th. And we'll probably start it at 10 o'clock Eastern, but we'll figure that out. But if you join 3E10, you will get to meet people like Paul King and Katie Kavanaugh. And something unique happened when we had our last meeting on Tuesday and I did my French and or Irish goodbye, where John Gonzalez, who's a member of the group, asked, should we keep meeting? And I thought, man, that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. Because these people, through the EdSales Elevation experience all over the country, have built a bond. And I'm not going to take anything away from the other cohorts that we have had. But this group has been particularly supportive. And oh, by the way, has been particularly successful very early in the EdSales Elevation experience. And there's something to be said for how they became so close, how they pushed and pulled on each other, and how the wins came and continue to come. So yes, can you figure out leads on repeat on your own? Can you come to the masterclass and try and do some of those things on your own? Absolutely. That's how we're designing it. Of course, we're also trying to give you a taste of what it would be like to be a member of our cohort and our community. And you'll get to meet and work alongside some of the nicest people that you will ever meet in Paul and Katie. I always say this to people, is that I would have a beer with every single member, not all at once, of our EdSales Elevation Experience community. We've got 143 and counting, because everybody seems to be really caring, really cool, and a champion of their own cause, and also willing to help others. I couldn't think of another C, but that was pretty good. They're always willing to help others. And what does that mean by helping others? A, telling you something might not be right in your signature solution or your LinkedIn profile. B, making introduction to a school system or a university or a B2B opportunity. And C, just being there for you, especially in places like LinkedIn when you post something and you need some support, you need some boost. They're there for you. It's a wonderful community. So people know this, I do everything from, well, I'm cut from the John Gamba tree. I do everything to hopefully help others and give value. And when you give value, value comes back. So we are doing this masterclass to hopefully help others and give people some real actionable steps to hopefully get some of these deals closed that are just sitting there. I've been there. Oh man, I remember this time of year when especially when I ran my after school enrichment business. Schools that I thought were going to close, PTA gets cold feet, or somebody changes the president and it goes cold, or, they tell you to hold on. Well, we're going to give you some steps in that masterclass that can hopefully get those people to say, I'm in. And then we've got our EdSales Elevation experience where we're going to go way deep on creating a system for you for lead gen. You've got some quick wins that we talked about today. Join the masterclass where you're going to get some very long-term, long-lasting tips and tricks on the road to building a system, because that's what you need. You need a system. So I want to say thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you, John, for making it for the 20 minutes. Mazel tov on the graduation this weekend and your birthday on the 20th of May. Thank you, Katie, for joining. Thank you, Paul, for joining. Thank you, everybody who joined. I will take us out on this. Hopefully, got to go out and close those deals. Don't be salesy, but go out, use some of the tactics we talked about. Post on LinkedIn, comment on LinkedIn, reach out and say, I saw you posted that, or, how can I help? The administration has changed. Don't use things like you ghosted me, or I haven't heard from you, or I thought I'd hear back from you. But get some energy, get some confidence, get some clarity, go out and let's close some deals. And if you're still wondering how to do it, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at jc@joshchernikoff.com, and we will close those deals together. So yes, charge. Katie, this is not an Irish goodbye. This is not a French goodbye. This is a long goodbye, but this is goodbye, folks. Hope you have a great time today and into next week. And I am hoping that we will see you at the masterclass. And if you've been to the masterclass and you've gotten some value, please share it out to other people who can come. The more, the merrier. Thank you again to Ken. You rock. Thank you again to Katie, Paul, everybody else who joined, John. All I think about is your birthday. So happy early birthday. Thank you, everybody.